Um, yes, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining this webinar. We will be discussing today the MedPhab Pilot Line for photonics-based medical devices, manufacturing, validation, testing, and pilot production. Here today, we will first have a short overview or general overview of MedPhab. And we are very proud to announce that MedPhab is ready for open call. And today we also will discuss what is in the open call and how you can actually apply for it and how you can benefit. So without further ado, I want to give the floor to UC, who is the coordinator of MedPhab, and to introduce MedPhab to us. So UC, would you please share your screen and tell us what is MedPhab and what people can expect from it? Okay. We can see your screen now and in the presentation mode. Great, the attention is yours and we can hear you well.
So please confirm that you can also hear me.
Yes, we can see the presentation and hear you well.
Yes, thank you very much. Welcome everyone for joining this session on MedPhab and how we are opening our services in the open call program. I am Jussi Hiltunen, working as a research professor at VTT Technical Research Center of Finland, and I'm a proud coordinator of this MedPhab Pilot Line. MedPhab is an European Union funded initiative and belongs to a kind of pilot line program. The idea here is to accelerate the uptake of latest technologies, and in photonics domain there are also other pilot line established, for example, on freeform optics or packaging, and MedPhab is really on the medical diagnostics. We started the establishment about 1.5 years ago, and now we are in a position to open the services for the external companies. And in this, in my presentation, I give a short introduction what MedPhab is about. So first, two drivers, so that really our main aim is to help companies in their product development and to reduce R&D costs and accelerate the commercialization of their product. And MedPhab is the first European photonics pilot line. As I said, that there are some others, but again, first pilot line dedicated on medical devices, and it brings a certain specific operations in our services and how we are tackling this transition from uncertified low maturity level development then to industrial level R&D. And one key element or driver to establish MedPhab is that typically photonics is a fairly diverse group of technologies, and photonics is developing fast. So for several companies, it's quite difficult then to pick and choose the right partners providing different pieces in the puzzle. And that's why under MedPhab, we collected quite a big variety of different technology. We cannot cover everything, but there's, as you can see later, there's a quite good menu of different technologies. And then in terms of maturity, then we can cover from proof of concept phase, then up to industrial control pilot production. And how we are then arranged as a consortium. So here you can see names of the MedPhab parties. We have a few research organizations, what I represent. Then we have industrial partners who have certificates to produce medical devices. Then we have parties for project support, helping with management, outreach, and also with the testing. And then internally, we have companies doing technology validation. Essentially, this means quality validation, and they confirm that we are developing highly relevant technologies for medical in medical domain. And having so many parties, or despite having so many parties, we are providing services for the external parties via single entry point, and we call this front office. And then this front office, then based on the discussion or filling intake form, then we can choose the best single party or several parties that have the best match with the needs by the external company. And those MedPhab parties, they can be these industrial members or research organizations. And then we have also a rather good understanding on other European Commission established pilot lines if we cannot cover everything by ourselves. And then a few words about different applications in medical domain. Okay, photonics is fairly broad technology domain, but as well medical diagnostic is also quite broad. So as an example, we are currently developing photonics technologies for hospital use, and those devices will be used by medical professionals in a hospital environment. Then we have technology development and services for home care diagnostic services. Essentially, this means wearable devices to monitor where citizens can do self-monitoring. And then a fairly big share of MedPhab technologies can be also applied in vitro diagnostics. And those are mostly intended for professional use in laboratories. Those are not limiting, but these are example cases that illustrate where the technologies can be applied. And then to technology offering. So as I said in the beginning, the aim is to provide accelerated product development services, and it consists of essentially from two main aspects. First, we have a fairly broad offering via this single entry point front office. And if customer has a need, for example, for a customized components, we have capabilities, for example, to handle fiber optics or photonic integrated circuits or different micro-optical components, and all the way up to active components. And recognizing that photonics is enabling technology, there's usually quite often other technologies are needed around. And then within MedPhab, we can also provide offering to develop electronics or microfluidics or MEMS devices. And finally, putting things together, integration part is a very important share of this overall offering. And we have capabilities for example, for optical assembly or microfluidic development. So there's a huge variety of different integration technologies. And those are fabrication related, and typically this fabrication needs some supportive element around. And for those, we have then good coverage of different simulation and analysis capabilities. For example, if customer needs for proof of concept system level design, this is also something what we have. And finally, we can do characterization of all these categories, components, non-photonic peripherals, and integrated systems. And a lot of offering is available in our webpage. So please visit there, and there you can download either PDF MedPhab handbook, and then there's also online catalog where you can navigate under different modules. Royal Bytes will present more about this online catalog, but essentially there are different filters where you can choose your intended application, or then you can choose navigate using technology by selecting certain technologies, and then different windows are opened where a lot of technical information is available. And then we have this modular structure in MedPhab, and for example, when building a system, then we can choose compatible production chains by picking right or relevant technologies. And then second aspect for accelerated development, again, first part was to cover good to have a broad technology menu. Second part is then relates to maturity level and how we can cover early phase development. This is basically division what we use in MedPhab. Our services are split into 5 phases, starting from fast learning, and for example, there we have a proof of concept. And I would say that typically these fast learning and flexible control that can include, for example, upscaling feasibility study. This is mostly a domain for research organization, and at some point there's then transfer to industrial control, pre-manufacturing, and actual manufacturing. And here, one key asset of MedPhab is that when working with research organizations, we have a fairly good understanding that how to make transition then to follow formal medical device regulations. And essentially, the message what we are giving that making right selections here in low TRL level, it can accelerate then production launch when we already have industrial members somehow involved in this low TRL development, or when RTOs have visibility how to make then the transition to industrial control development. And about this open call. So now after 1.5 years, we are ready to provide services to external companies. So customers are always most welcome to contact MedPhab front office outside open call. But then this is a very unique opportunity now what we are providing, because there's this pioneering nature in our services. So we can provide quite considerable financial support when participating open calls. And here you can see links and contact information to get further info. And then I think Ruel continues with the more detailed information how to participate these open calls. Thank you.
Thank you, Jussi, very much for this great introduction and for giving us a view on what MedPhab is. I would like to encourage everybody who joined this webinar to ask your questions. You can, we will have the Q&A session after second presentation. You can ask your questions in the common chat or in a private chat as well. And you can also use an option of raise hand, and we will try to approach as many questions as possible in our Q&A session. And with that, of course, let's move to the second presentation and hear more about the open call for demo cases in MedPhab. Roel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Elena. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. So I'll indeed take it further from where Jussi left it. Jussi gave a general introduction to MedPhab. I'll now move on to really do what is the purpose of this webinar, which is to explain the open call that we are organizing for demo case projects with third parties. Myself, I'm from IMEC and Ghent University, and together with my co-worker Kamal Kaur, we are leading this open call within the MedPhab Pilot Line. So just as an introduction again, it's obvious that photonics has a big role to play in medical devices. Already in the past, we have seen so many medical devices that are basically working on the basis of light, optical technology, and some of which are really pervasive already in the field of medicine and life science. It remains the fact that we have many health challenges ahead. There is an aging society. Healthcare is getting ever more performant, but at the same time, we have to ensure that it is also affordable for society, not only in the West, but also throughout the world. And of course, in the past year, we have seen the vast impact of a major pandemic. So we believe really that there are many opportunities in the future for photonics-enabled devices, which go all the way from low-cost personal bedside point-of-care medical devices, also minimally invasive devices, catheter approaches, implants, electronic pills, and of course also rapid diagnostics. So this is what this is all about, what MedPhab is all about. It's really to bring innovative photonic technologies to the medical world. So basically, we really believe that there are many medical diagnostic needs that can be addressed by innovative photonic solutions. And on the other hand, we have the pilot line MedPhab. It really combines the best of Europe's advanced photonics technologies, and some of the partners also have experience in ISO 13485 manufacturing, the quality standard for medical device manufacturing. So really, this MedPhab demo case call is to play the bridge between the needs and the offerings from MedPhab. So in short, what is this all about? What is the mission of this MedPhab demo case project call? Well, MedPhab will support companies in medical device innovation based on photonics. We really have a consortium that provides the best-in-class advanced photonic technologies of Europe. And it's interesting to note that a major part of the demo case budget is covered by MedPhab's public funding for those demo cases. We have a demo case fund for that purpose. So we have seen this already. So just as a reminder, we have indeed a wealth of advanced photonic technologies. These go all the way from photonic integrated circuits on one end of the spectrum to lamination of plastic foil devices, microfluidics, fiber-based devices for catheter approaches, optical design, mechanical design, microfluidics. Yeah, all you may need in terms of medical devices with a photonic dimension. And indeed, we have an extensive description of the offering on this website here, where we really have a sort of a community marketplace of all the technologies that MedPhab is offering. They come in various degrees of maturity level. Some are really very mature, ready for not only prototyping, but also for small volume manufacturing and with a route towards larger volume manufacturing. Other technologies are still at a slightly lower TRL level, but that of course can only increase with the years to come. Okay, well, you have already seen the partners, the members of this consortium. On one hand, research institutes, on the other hand, a number of companies, and as I said, some of which are very familiar with 13485. So there is public funding involved, so it's perhaps quite important to explain that well. Essentially, we make a distinction between, on one hand, SMEs, and on the other hand, large companies. In each case, part of the budget of the demo case project is public funded and part is funded by the third party, and that is what is spelled out in this slide. In the case of SMEs, 75% of the budget of a demo case project is funded by MedPhab public funding from the European Commission, and 25% is expected to be covered by the third party. I should mention, to be very clear, that none of this money is going to the third party. Also, this part is not going to the third party. It's actually going to any of the MedPhab partners that is executing services to the third party. So the third party defines the program in conjunction with their business case, with their innovation plan, is calling for services from MedPhab, and these services are 75% covered by public funding, 25% by the customer, by the third party itself. While in the case of large companies, both should be EU-based. This open call for demo case projects is limited to companies which are incorporated somewhere in Europe. In the case of large companies, the ratios are different. It's a 50-50 split. I should mention that the demo case fund has 1.85 million euro in it. And for each demo case project, we foresee a maximum EU contribution, that's this column, of 125 euro. Okay, so that's the financial plan. Perhaps let me go into a little bit more detail on how it works procedurally. There are checks and balances in the process, especially because obviously there is public money involved. Actually, we will be organizing 3 campaigns, and therefore you see 3 dates here. We will take in demo case projects 3 times in a sort of a batch mode. So it all starts with an intake form, which is very simple, and that is just to check whether the request is something that MedPhab can address. And the first cutoff date for that intake is mid-July. Then the next step is that a real full demo case proposal is being written by the third party, but here there will be help from MedPhab to make that happen. There will be a coach who is very familiar with the MedPhab offering. He or she will help the third party to write and eventually submit this full proposal. Here we have a deadline of end of November this year. And then there will be an evaluation and a selection process, which we have to do because, as I say, public money is involved, but we will plan to do that just in a few weeks, present the results before Christmas so that project execution can start in January 2022. And that process will be repeated in total 3 times with 6 months intervals. The projects are expected to be of moderate size, not large size, moderate size with a timeline for each project somewhere in the range of 3 months. These are smaller projects, something very, very specific, up to something like 12 months. So all information about this open call is on the MedPhab website, of course. So to be even one step more explicit in the procedural thing, go to the MedPhab website, check out technology offering of MedPhab. Feel free to reach out to any of the partners for more information. Check out the application guidelines, and indeed, then as a first step, complete this intake form and submit it by 15th of July. This first intake form should be free of any sensitive information. This will not be operating under NDA, so the information in this intake form will be shared across the partners of MedPhab. It's still confidential, of course, but it will be shared across all partners. So this should be a simple, high-level description of the purpose. And then comes this proposal writing. So a MedPhab coach, depending on the subject of the innovation case, a MedPhab coach will be assigned to the project. And then, of course, a complete full proposal will be written. This will obviously happen under NDA, not with the entire consortium, that's too complicated, just with the key partners or perhaps partners who are involved in the proposal. That will then go to, after uploading and submitting it, that will go to a selection and the decision process. That means that we do have an evaluation team that will see the proposals. Therefore, again, we need NDA with those people. That will be a very simple generic NDA to cover the protection of the ideas phrased out in that full proposal. So you see there is a bit of legal overhead involved. We have tried hard to keep it as simple as possible, while of course being very, very, very careful to protect the IP of the third parties. And then if and when a proposal is accepted, then of course an agreement will be signed between the third party and the MedPhab partner who will execute the work. That can be one partner. It could also be perhaps two partners, those partners who will really deliver the services to the third party. So with them, an agreement will be made to spell out everything that is the work plan, of course, but also the financial arrangements, also the IP arrangements between the third party and the MedPhab. That will all be in this joint implementation agreement. And with that, then on January 2022, the demo case project can be executed. And again, this whole process will be repeated another 2 times. So this is the plan. Again, there will be selection criteria at pre-screening stage. This will be very, very simple. Is the scope matching MedPhab? That's the simple question to be answered there. At full proposal stage, there will be checks and balances in the sense of, is this project about an innovative and medically relevant concept? Secondly, is the proposed implementation, is that sound and feasible? And finally, also, is the business case sound, and is the medical case, societal case sound? All these questions will also be addressed. But we are very confident that in as far as these criteria are met, that the rate of success of these proposals will be very high. Okay, so that is it. Jussi already mentioned the website and the help desk. So there is this help desk for this open call process. So we have really the intention to be very diligent in responding to any requests that may come in and make life as easy as possible for third parties. And with that, I can close, and I thank you for your attention.